Our story starts in the vast Appalachian hardwood forest in the south of the United States. We'll be traveling from the state of Georgia to the Gulf of Mexico, through Alabama, then down the Mississippi to its delta. A journey to meet lovers of the Deep South. Elgin Wells is a poet, an aviator, acrobat, musician, and much more.
Wish you could, wish you would find your way back home, 'cause I hear your voice at night. It's always in my mind. Wish I could sing you home tonight with this miss you lullaby, with a miss you lullaby. This path that goes along here is what's left of an old mining road. The first gold that was found in the United States was found basically on this property and in this area near Dahlonega. Now it's my little gold mine, but the gold here I think is green. It's one of the most peaceful places I've ever been in my life.
Elgin lives, writes, and composes his music in the middle of this 86-acre pine and oak forest.
I think that's Big Red. We have one doe who's not terribly shy, and we feed our deer every day. We're kind to our deer because they're so beautiful and so sweet. They make our lives interesting and kind of keeps us grounded, you know. Once in a while, it's good to look around and remind yourself what planet you live on. We're all very lucky to be here. Ah, chipmunk, you see him? Food. Oh, there he goes, very fast.
Wish I could pretend you don't linger in my mind. Wish I didn't know.
Elgin inherited his love of piloting from his father and his love of music from his mother.
Take me back to when I knew I was the only one. Let me feel that way again.
When I'm doing the more lyrical kind of flying, there is this music that plays in my head. It flies formation with my emotions. You know, whatever I'm feeling, that's the kind of sound that I hear in my mind. And just playing among the clouds, not worrying about anything except the spirit of the moment. And sometimes you can bring elements together that aren't normally put together and come up with something new and refreshing. And the people who see you doing it and hear you doing it, it may enrich their lives as well. Nothing wrong with that. The three-dimensional freedom that an aerobatic airplane gives you is so liberating. If you want to roll it over, you roll it over. If you want to go high, you go high. You want to go low, anything you want to do. I would imagine that if there are angels and they have wings and fly, this is the sort of thing they must do when they're playing.
With his talented mechanic, Gene Timpson, Elgin is rigging up two planes in his hangar near Atlanta. Elgin's heir to a long tradition in American aviation. His father, a military pilot in the Pacific during World War II, bought him a plane when he was 20.
He's been dead now for about 5 years, and I miss him to this day. Every time I fly, though, I can feel his presence in the cockpit. He was a very wonderful man. One of little tricks that I learned from my father, which is lots of fun, is you find a little puffy cloud and you go below it and you fly up into it toward the sun. and maybe roll the airplane as you're going through the cloud, and then the sun bursts out. It's sort of like your own private sunrise. It's an exhilarating thing.
Elgin plays 7 musical instruments. He makes his own violins. 800 hours of work for each one.
Isn't she sweet? There are only so many things that you can do with a musical instrument. There are only so many things you can do with an airplane. An airplane can go high, it can go low. It can go high and go low. There's a symmetry, there's a roundness to certain musical phrases that is similar to flying rolls in an airplane, perhaps. You know. To me, they have a lot in common.
Elgin Wells combined his passion for music and aerobatics by perfecting the Star Jammer, an experimental aircraft with carbon fiber composite wings, high-power engines, and smoke streams for acrobatics.
This allows the computer to light up the LEDs on the propeller.
But its most original features are 4,000-watt amplifiers and 250 incorporated LEDs programmed to be set off in flight. Limitless energy. Elgin always takes it a step further. On top of his concert tour, he's the only person in the U.S. to offer night aerial shows. His latest poetic invention, this guitar prototype, a modified Fender Stratocaster. A guitar that chats with his plane. And the highlight of his performance is his night air show with onboard light and sound. Unique. The next day, Elgin escorted us to Lake Lanier and then said goodbye in his own way. Lake Lanier, 57 square miles, is part of a network of rivers that flows 310 miles downstream to the Gulf of Mexico. Buford Dam retains millions of acre-feet of water upstream from Atlanta. It protects the city from the floods of the Chattahoochee River. The reservoir was built in a gorge in 1956 by the U.S. Corps of Engineers. Outside of their military activities, the Corps has also built the Capitol and dug out the Panama Canal. These last years have been dedicated to the delicate management of water resources. Ernest Noe is a USA CE Ranger. He's responsible for visitor relations.
How you doing, sir? Good. Ernest Noe with the Corps of Engineers.
How you doing, Steve Smith?
Enjoying your stay here?
I am. We
at the park?
just got here and just starting to set up.
Getting
Yeah,
your kayaks out.
my son's still in there sleeping, and yeah, we're looking forward to doing a bunch of kayaking. It's a really beautiful lake.
Nowadays, Lake Lanier is also a great recreation spot for all of the state of Georgia. 8 million people visit the lake every year, making it one of the most popular in the east of the U.S.
I love it because the water is so clean here. That's one thing I really like. They must take care of the water here. I mean, the dam must work really well. I know at times you have to let the water out and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like anybody dumps anything into this lake. Some of the lakes that I've been to before, there's, you know, chemical dumps or, you know, waste or for whatever reason they do it, and it messes up the water.
Right next to the large dam is the water treatment plant for the entire region. Buford Dam is a major asset for Georgia's economy, and it's carefully maintained. The U.S. Corps of Engineers even uses a dozen goats for lawn maintenance on the dam. Water is released upstream following a strict calendar because of fishing and recreation activities. Rangers must make everyone happy, so they hone their PR skills.
So you got your life jacket on, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Have you been out here fishing earlier this morning or just getting here?
I was out earlier, had a little equipment problem, so I came back in to take care of it.
Okay.
Mission accomplished for the Corps of Engineers.
I used to catch a lot of fish here. And they only spawn and they only grow where the water is clean. I wouldn't want to drink it, but it's clean enough for a fish, for the trout.
Downstream from the Buford Dam, the Chattahoochee River flows into Atlanta. Elgin Wells insisted that after Lake Lanier, we should visit Stone Mountain. Right next to Atlanta, a strange granite monolith, highlight of the popular Stone Mountain Park. Carved on the north face of the mountain are 3 Confederate leaders riding their favorite horses. A huge sculpture, larger than 2 football fields. This 7-acre carving is the largest bas-relief in the world. It took 3 sculptors and 50 years to complete the job. Atlanta, state capital of Georgia, 5 million inhabitants, one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. Atlanta is home to CNN and Coca-Cola, but the inhabitants drink water from Lake Lanier, stored in these large reservoirs. And the south of Atlanta? Lots of forest. It invades amusement parks and even industrial parks. Somewhere along the river, we've crossed a border, the border between Georgia and Alabama. Montgomery, capital of Alabama. This town could have been the capital of the United States. It's built along the same plan as Washington. Montgomery was founded on the cotton trade. Back then, chariots would ride down Commerce Street to the Alabama River, where they would be loaded on boats, headed for the Gulf of Mexico. And most importantly, Montgomery is hometown to Martin Luther King. December 1st, 1955, at the foot of this fountain on Dexter Avenue, an African-American woman, Rosa Parks, boards a bus where she refuses to give up her seat to a white passenger. The following evening, 50 people led by a young pastor, Martin Luther King, meet in this Baptist church. There, Martin Luther King develops his theories on nonviolent civil disobedience. This is when the famous Montgomery bus boycott begins. A year later, racial segregation was outlawed. It's the beginning of a long battle for the emancipation of African Americans. Nowadays, there's no more cotton in Alabama. trees as far as you can see, and then all of a sudden, ponds everywhere. Intensive cotton culture has forever drained the ground of the thin layer of humus needed to raise crops. So farmers have converted to raising catfish, sometimes genetically engineered. Strange contraptions stir the water to bring in more oxygen, an unusual industry which now faces rising competition from Vietnam and China. And in the middle of the fish farms, in an industrial park in Greensboro, there's an odd structure, an architectural experiment, and the work of Rural Studio. For about 20 years now, the University of Auburn has been conducting a delocalization project deep down in the heart of Alabama. A team of young architects has taken up residence in New Bern, a town of 230 inhabitants, in one of the poorest regions in the States, a few houses only, scattered on either side of the road. About 30 young volunteers work in this rusty barn, supervised by Andrew Fear, a British architect. They come here for a hands-on experience after 5 years of theory.
What would stop you completely exposing this truss so that you don't fill this with light fixtures, right? So you've got two light fixtures sort of almost filling the space.
So that all the light is right in there.
We can pin up some of the earlier conversations.
We did have a discussion about the different treatments of the services of the OSB, whether it be paint or,
maybe the light source could even happen outside the building to some degree. It doesn't, if you start to think of it in that regard.
Moving from theory to practice is a way for future architects to experience technical issues as well as various aspects of the trade. Students are responsible for all the aspects of a project, and they take it to its limit. Andrew Fear is there to supervise and orient ideas.
Keeping a relationship with the client has been a really awesome thing, because like I said, I guess that's the third point in that triangle: practical, design, and then client. I guess like usually you don't get a relationship with all three of those things. Usually you're just on one of those, I guess, or two maybe. But yeah, that's been a really fun aspect of it too.
A life lesson for the young architects. One of Rural Studio's latest accomplishments is the newborn fire station just across the street. It was entirely designed and built by 4 25-year-old architects who managed to raise $100,000, negotiate with the authorities, and successfully complete the project.
We've come here, we've stayed here. Our staff, our center of location is a home, and we're a neighbor. And by doing that, you build trust.
Rural Studio is in one of the most isolated areas in the state of Alabama. This is the kingdom of recycling, and the local community is doing its part. The owner of this abandoned schoolhouse has let them use the premises for their welding workshop. Today's mission? Finish assembling the metal windows for the future New Bern Town Hall. Lauren Danley is a professional welder. She's here to teach the young architects the secrets of metal.
Start doing those verticals in an accurate way on that bandsaw, and you won't have to change his setup.
Okay.
It's been a trip. It's been an adventure for at the very least, trying to pull this thing together with no electricity. The roof is leaking. We had high tide here the other day. It wasn't raining so much inside of this space, but it was coming from over there and underneath the floors, and the floors were wet, and it was. I was asking myself, what the hell am I doing here?
The Rural Studio headquarters is in this old farmhouse. The students have started growing vegetables here and set up a huge open-air workshop to experiment new techniques. Andrew Freer surveys the projects.
Yeah.
Oh, I was right. Well, shit.
12th time all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks a lot, but
Yeah. They're also going to have to do a nice job of connections to the ground with that wood lines.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the hill teeth coming out.
Yep. Well, that's also like, we got smaller ramset nails, but they wouldn't go through because they didn't have enough, I guess, momentum when you hit it.
We need the stronger gun. We need the.
And all our work's in 25-mile radius, so if we make a mess, we really hear about it. And that's the hard side of it, but it's a fantastic educational opportunity, is that learning.
Over the past 10 years, Andrew Freer and his team have been developing an affordable housing project. The idea is to build a model $20,000 home. Rural Studio was nominated in 2008 for the Award of Sustainable Architecture.
Well, it's sustainability with a small s, right? It's not that horrible word that's been fucked up by commercials. The buildings look like they look because we have to build them, which is an important part of design. And then they also look like they look because at the end of the day we want people to be able to fix them as well.
I like it because it's a comfort style house, and I like it. I ain't straightened up or letting too much in here because I got a bunch of clothes I got to take to the cleaner. And people know both ways and all that.
Works pretty well for catching the breeze, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. See, it comes from each way, you know.
If we do a project here, we get to see if it doesn't work. And they'll tell us it's good if it's good, but if it's shit, you really get to see that. And for a teacher and as an architect, it's unbelievable.
Soon, New Bern will have its new town hall. Now the retired postwoman has requested a library from Rural Studio. Over the years, the studio has really contributed to redesigning the landscape in Hale County. Far from international stars of architecture praised by the media, Rural Studio is a proof of community-oriented and environmental work in an underserved region in the U.S. We're flying 500 kilometers westward towards the Mississippi River, and our next stop, a small town brimming with history. This is where it all started for the Deep South. Natchez, 18,000 inhabitants, named after an Indian tribe, the first residents. Natchez is the oldest town along the river. It's the French who first set up harbor here on the Mississippi, then the British, and afterwards the Spanish. Natchez became American when Napoleon sold Louisiana to Jefferson. For decades, the town was the center of the cotton trade. Natchez was the town with the most billionaires in the United States, richer than New York City at the time. Its walls bear eternal traces of that period. First, Stanton Hall, a house crowded with American history, old furniture, and treasures. Pat Martin invites us in for a private visit. She's proud of every piece of 200-year-old furniture.
I love history, but I love this house. Yeah. I've gotten attached to it over the years, and I'm very proud of the workmanship in it because it is absolutely unbelievable. They did it without electricity, without electric tools. This was done by hand, and the details of the workmanship that is completely repeated over and over again, and they got it looking exactly the same size, everything.
A Carrara marble chimney sculpted in New York. In one of the rooms, a reproduction of a painting by Raphael. And in the kitchen, the French chandeliers are a tribute to the first residents, the Natchez Indians.
The eagle at the top represents courage. The center of the light is a cornstalk. Some people call it maize. You have Indians with bows and arrows. You have spears and corn. And coming further down, you have Indians and horses.
A fortune amassed over the decades. In the heyday of cotton farming, the Stanton family had 18 slaves. The highlight of the visit is the ballroom. It occupies an entire wing of the house. Slaves would unroll hundreds of feet of carpet for such events. An exceptional house, Stanton Hall and its 6 luxurious rooms on the 2nd floor, and the roof observatory overlooking the trees to watch over plantation work and traffic on the Mississippi. As we leave Natchez by plane, we notice a strange building, Longwood House. Longwood is the largest octagonal mansion in the country, topped with a Byzantine dome, a 7-floor, 32,000 square foot marvel of architecture with a skylight that reaches down to the 1st floor. It was built in 1860 for Hall Nutt, a cotton baron who owned 140,000 acres of land, 6 plantations, 800 slaves. Building Longwood cost $15 million at the time. 4 main floors, with a solarium on the 6th, an observatory on the 7th. 32 rooms in all, each with its own balcony.
Well, the main objective that you have, architecture for the South, is to deal with the heat and humidity. So that's why you have 15-foot ceilings, deep overhanging porches, large windows and doors, lots of cross ventilation to keep you cool.
Gay Guercio loves the lifestyle of the Deep South.
You build your big porches because you have torrential rains, and so that the sun won't, beat so hard down on your porch. So they used porches as outdoor living rooms because it was cooler out here.
Work was halted when the Civil War broke out. Architects and workers from Pennsylvania fled and abandoned the scaffoldings. Longwood, a strange palace of Byzantine inspiration in the middle of the Mississippi forests. Upriver from Natchez on the Mississippi, a new universe unfolds, from forest to wetlands. Nested in a meander of the Mississippi, surrounded by swamps, this is the largest maximum security penitentiary in the U.S. It's named Angola, after a plantation that employed slaves from Africa. For a long time, Angola was the most dangerous prison in the country. Brought in a few years back, the new warden has cleaned up the situation. His trick? Religion. Angola has about 5,000 inmates who work in the fields, with 1,800 guards keeping a close watch. Further away, the maximum security unit for the only penitentiary in Louisiana to exercise the death penalty. The most dangerous prisoners in the country are held here. They will never leave. They're on death row. The Mississippi River has the 2nd largest catchment basin in the world. It drains a huge area from the Rockies to the Appalachians. Today, exceptionally low water levels have uncovered vast sandbanks, showing nothing of the drastic floods of 2011. For the first time ever here, several barges ran aground As a result, the river had to be dredged. This is Avery Island, but it's not really an island. In an abandoned meander of the river is a salt hill surrounded by water. The salt mine is still operational. The salt that leaves for the harbor is sent up north to grit the roads in wintertime. But in fact, Avery Island is where Tabasco hot sauce is manufactured, made from Mexican chili peppers. It all began after the Civil War. Edmund McElhenney created the magical recipe for Tabasco, produced in his first factory, a simple recipe that will travel through time. But one McElhenney in particular stands out: Edward A., Arctic explorer, botanist, writer, and bird lover. He planted a huge tropical garden on Avery Island and noticed that egrets, hunted for their feathers, stopped there while migrating. Tony Simons, fifth-generation McElhenney, is now at the head of the Tabasco family business and very proud of his ancestor.
EA went out into the marshes around Avery Island and he captured 7 egrets, and he built an aviary for them, and he let them breed and hatch out their young, and when the young were old enough to fly, he let them go. And from those original 7 egrets now, we get thousands of egrets who come back to us each year and nest in the jungle gardens, in the willow pond. EA also helped produce a silent film that they took to Washington, D.C., and it showed what was happening to the egrets, and they used that film to help convince the congressman that the egret needed to be protected, and it became one of the first species in America to be protected.
The business has undergone lots of changes since Edward's time. Nowadays, only seeds are grown on Avery Island. Seeds collected here are sent to South America and harvested in warmer climates in several countries. The peppers are then returned and are blended in the Tabasco factory. The secret to success is in the selection of the peppers and the know-how of the few people responsible for their fermentation. No jealously guarded secret recipe for this legendary hot sauce. Tabasco is really simple. Fermented peppers preserved in salt and vinegar. That's all. Everything is produced here in the factory. The 1868 recipe has never changed.
I've been working here for 42 years. Yes, and
the paste is stocked for 3 years in oak barrels, protected by a layer of salt.
You smell it, and it's fresh. It's the aroma. Yeah. Then to taste it, you do like that. And it's hot, and you see the bubbles.
First, the preparation ferments for a year in this hall, under the supervision of Hamilton and his men.
The top of it would blow up.
After 42 years, Hamilton still loves his pepper mash.
Yeah, I'm still eating. Yeah, I eat it with a potato chip, cheese and stuff like that. Put it on popcorn or whatever. Yeah.
A year later, the barrels are moved to this large hall, which holds a real treasure.
This here is just aging right now. It's just sitting there. It's getting spider webs and stuff, and this is how it stacks up. Right in here, we have about 40 to 50,000 barrels right now. Then after that, it goes to processing. Then they extract the seed and the pulp and the skin, and you stay with your natural sauce, and that is ready for bottling.
The Tabasco family has grown since its beginnings. 7 different sauces today, shipped to over 160 countries.
Every bottle of Tabasco in the world will have the same taste. Yes, because it's all made right here.
$750,000 bottles a day leave Avery Island, an undisputed worldwide success. Avery Island is surrounded by fields as far as the eye can see. Sugarcane mainly, but also soy crops, genetically engineered. The area is also a base for the offshore oil and natural gas industry. We're not very far from the Gulf of Mexico. This is what Louisiana looked like when the first settlers arrived. Endless stretches of trees and swamps. The forest had to be cleared for crops, and large embankments built to contain the river's wrath. Wedged between these 2 levees, which stretch out over hundreds of miles, is the strange universe of the Atchafalaya Basin, a natural reserve and bird, crawfish, and gator haven. The emblematic tree of the bayou is the bald cypress. It can live up to 1,500 years, maybe longer. For decades, Louisiana exported bald cypress wood to make furniture and houses. Nowadays, it's a protected species. This rot-proof wood has become so expensive that people search for old trunks dating from the deforestation period. It's sometimes referred to as old man's beard. Spanish moss is the soul of Louisiana, of the Deep South. Bill remembers there used to be a lot more when he was a kid.
Now, my mom tells me when she was a little girl back in the 40s and 50s, there was much more moss than what's on the trees today. She said there would be so much moss sometimes you couldn't even see the green of the tree. It was just gray moss hanging on the tree, and it doesn't hurt the tree.
Last century, Henry Ford used Spanish moss to stuff the Ford Model T's upholstery. Packed in crates made from bayou cypress trees, moss would go up the Mississippi River to the Michigan plants, a 2,000-mile trip.
All this stuff you see, all this grass and weeds, this is all floating. This is not land, it's all floating.
In the 1930s, water fern from South America, used in aquariums and swamps, invaded the bayou. Water hyacinth, an ornamental plant, was introduced in 1884 during the 100th World Cotton Fair in New Orleans. This fast-spreading plant has now invaded swamp surfaces and cut off entire areas to boat traffic.
And this is what it looks like below. Now this is floating because all these stems are hollow, like honeycombed, so they hold air. In the roots live all kind of little creatures, all kind of little bugs. And the fish like this because they eat the little bugs. Now the alligators also like this because there's a gap between the bottom of the roots and the mud on the bottom. So all this is open down there. So the alligators can swim underneath it and go wherever they want. In the heat of the day, when it's really warm, they'll get under it and get in the shade with only his nose sticking up above the water, and he'll stay there all day. When it cools off, they'll come back out.
Greg's a photographer with a passion for the Atchafalaya Basin. He and his friend Roy spend hours on end in the bayou. Lots of species have already disappeared since the industrial era. Others multiply, like alligators, which are now protected, and new ones appear, of the invasive type. Initially introduced to the U.S. to weed aquatic farms in the south of the country, Asian carp escaped in the Mississippi 20 years ago. Since then, they've made their way to Lake Michigan. A voracious species, they lay millions of eggs and can survive in poorly oxygenated waters. Normally, they weren't supposed to escape from the fish farms, but any idiot should have known they wouldn't stay where they were. Now they've invaded the entire Atchafalaya. And the cost of this invasive Asian carp species? 4,000 jobs, $3 million, and it's not over yet. This huge swamp with varying water levels is an amazing ecosystem in itself. Cutting down trees destroys the habitat of birds, which don't nest on the ground. It's a fine balance. Too many dams on the Mississippi retaining water for crops in the Great Plains, and swamps silt up. To exploit Atchafalaya oil, companies dug out canals. They were supposed to clean up afterwards, but they didn't. The sand from backfill spills out into the bayou whenever the water rises. This destroys the wild crawfish habitat. Bayou residents have been battling for 30 years. But what can crawfish fishermen in the Atchafalaya do against large oil companies? The big oil companies have all the power in politics, and us fishermen, we didn't count for much. Now it's too late. But we're gonna keep fighting for the rest of our lives. I don't have a lot of time left on this earth. I'm 72. But we'll play at this until we die. This is Shane Doucet. Shane used to fish crawfish. Then he stopped. Now he works for an oil company. But he still loves the bayou and goes back whenever he can. I must have a cage here somewhere. I hide them because people steal them. Everything's good for the taking, depending on the water level. Today, it's turtle. You need a permit to catch and another to sell, but Shane doesn't sell them. We try not to go to the store to shop too often. We eat turtles, deer, wawarons. What's a wawaron? Sort of toad. How do you eat turtle? You can make a hot sauce. You can cook it in tomatoes. You can also roast them. We like that. See how big this one is? Look. These are some big ones. I caught one. It was 45 kilos. During the fishing season, and anytime they have a moment, Bayou residents go to their floating cabins. Roy found a very nice place, hidden in the swamp. Down here I hunt deer, ducks, squirrels, and rabbits. We have some good times. I bring my 6 grandkids here. There are lots of young people here. People in the bayou live in a land of tales and legends, inspired from true stories, such as the story of the pirate Lafitte, who trafficked in slaves. His army of 1,000 men controlled the Mississippi Delta. A long time ago, this is where the ocean began. The elders say that the pirate Lafitte hid his booty here, all around. But nothing's ever been found. I have tried, though. not everyone's at the concert tonight. Shane has a weakness for frogs. He's taken his wife Donna out on a frogging expedition. So what do you need to find frogs in the bayou? A sturdy boat, 2 powerful lamps, and good eyesight to see the toads from afar. Oh yeah, and beer, of course. See that? You ready? You trap a few like that, and it makes a mighty good meal.
It's not bad.
See how pretty the skin is? It'd make some nice boots. Or a money pouch. We're gonna roast them. You need 4 per person. It's a feast. You can roast the thighs. You make a hot sauce with the back and the feet. And another little toad. When we come through here, nothing much is left after. But there are some animals still left behind. I could use a ruler. The tail, feet, jaw, it's all good to eat. What a cute little alligator. But he's not going to stay cute for long.
That'd be good, huh?
That's a nice one. You catch it like that?
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's dangerous, no?
It's dangerous? No. Oh, now he's in the boat. He's dangerous.
He'll be all right.
He'll be okay. He's strong. 1.5 meters.
You're crazy.
It's the end of our trip. The shoreline appears in the distance. The Mississippi Delta is a little like the French Camargue and its swamps, but it's much wilder, more mosquitoes, and more alligators. Endless wetlands. The river meets the sea, salt and freshwater blend. Life here is not easy. Storms and hurricanes always come from the south. You can lose everything in a few hours. An unlikely encounter, because with Hurricane Isaac approaching, the road has just been closed. The son, Steve. The father, Chris. I can't hear you with all the wind. We're out here catching crabs, even in a hurricane. I love it. It's the best time of year. There's no one here. I'm surprised you're here. What are you doing here?
What are you doing out here? We fill this up to the top till you can't close it anymore. Call all our friends and family and cook a good meal and have a good time. The low pressure of the Hurricane Isaac moving in is basically made a big time feeding frenzy for all the redfish, shrimp are moving in, trying to leave to go further. It normally makes the bigger ones come out. You know, with this situation with the hurricane, it's kind of antsy, you know, so you're scared about the storm hitting you, but our family thought we were crazy for coming out here.
Because it's 6 o'clock? Yeah, I know. We shut it down. It's not going to be open until the storm passes.
We don't want to camp out here.
Okay, buddy. All right.
See, that's is probably one of the best places to come and experience this wildlife. They have a lot of true Cajun culturistic people that come down here and live in these areas back here, and it's their living, their livelihood. That's how they put food on their tables, coming out here and doing this for their families.
from the Appalachian Mountains, the little drop of water in the clouds that our pilot Elgin Wells flew through has now reached the sea, with its outline of oil platforms on the horizon. In the Gulf of Mexico, danger always comes from the south: storms, hurricanes, and oil spills.